Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today, we're talking about a little game called Cyclades. Now, this is played at once, meaning I've played it once, you've played it once, she's played it once, we've all played this game only once.
Times a couple numbers.
Oh no, he's expecting me to correct him. I wasn't going to.
Oh, okay. No, that's fair. So,
I like things accurate.
In
that's
this
fair.
series, I'm here with Board Game Co.
For
and
context,
Shira.
she's played it 3 times. I've played it at least 10 plus. It's been in my collection for years, and you've played it.
Actually
given how
once.
well you did, let's call it half a play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get started to the video.
Either way, this is going to be a overview, first impressions, combined with someone who has experience with Cyclades here and can correct me where I'm wrong. So, first off, the main point and strategy of this game is to not move anywhere as you're trying to establish your territory control, doing your very best to draft and lose on the different bidding over here in order to get different demigods that you weren't intending to get, that use powers that you have no actual use for, so that you can create a village or a citadel that other people can claim, eventually leading to them winning the game. Is that
quick question?
Also, accrue the most money.
Do you
forgot
plan
that one.
Do you plan on playing this with me again?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's how you play.
I'd be happy to play.
That's how you play. Yeah.
Seriously, Alex, can you give us a 60-second or 90-second?
Where's my timer? Get my timer.
Okay.
Timer.
Can you once we get a timer set up, can you give us a 60-second on
Absolutely.
what exactly is happening in this game, and then we'll go through my first impressions, what I think about it.
I'm just waiting for the timer.
All right,
Ready?
Set,
go. Cyclades is a game where you're ultimately trying to build 2 of your monuments. I think they call it something else, but we'll call it monuments. You're building 2 of these giant infrastructures that you can either get by building philosophers, 4 philosophers, or alternatively by getting enough buildings, or alternatively by taking over your opponent's buildings. To that end, this is going to be an area control, otherwise known as a dudes on the map game, where the thing that makes Cyclades stand out in this genre of games is going to be the bidding mechanism on that track. You are bidding for the use of gods in this game, and the gods you get determine what you can do, how you can do them. They're not just a small part, they are your entire focus for the turn, and so getting them is essential. When you bid on them, players can outbid you, forcing you to other tracks, which leads to this little bit of a mind game of you don't actually bid for the thing you want, so much as the thing that you hope to be outbid on, so that you can then correctly end up on the thing you want, utilize your god, whether Ares for more land combat, or for Poseidon for sea combat, Zeus for powers, abilities to be able to get these creatures and to get increased bidding, and then Athena to kind of get everything else, and lastly Apollo, which gives you a little bit of extra income. Managing these, managing the creatures, managing the gods, and of course managing the area control of the game is ultimately how you will win at Cyclades.
Awesome, right at 60 seconds, and I'm just going to throw in a little reminder to myself right now.
You are talented.
Jan texted me while you were doing that with my PayPal login information on the phone, so I'm going to remind myself, do not use the top shot during that one moment. And with that being said, my first impressions of this game, you showed me a variety of different area control games that have different types of mechanics or different types of unique systems to them.
Yes.
Inish, you're going to have Blood Rage, Terraforming Mars, you're going to have Terra Mystica,
You're just throwing in games at this point? There's going to be a large variety of games in this genre. There's going to be Kemet, which you haven't played.
I haven't
There's
played,
going to be
no.
Rurik, which you...
should
Well,
do
I have the new
Kemet.
version of Kemet.
What's the Egyptian
new
one?
version of Kemet's coming.
Kemet.
Kemet is one of the Egyptian ones.
No, the Simon Egyptian one.
Well, Ankh. It's coming up.
Ankh. And the one before that.
Rising Sun.
I did not like Rising Sun.
I did not like...
And it's also not Egyptian.
Also have to get Cthulhu Wars. Did he play Battle for...
Chaos in the Old World.
Battle for
Battle for
Rokugan?
Either way,
is not.
so there is a lot of these games that are experimenting with the idea of territory control, and I universally have found territory control to be one of my least favorite mechanics. And the reason why I end up liking some of these games has to do with the other systems they have in place or next to them. Like, for instance, Blood Rage, amazing. I do not care about the board. I care so much about the drafting. That is the part of the game that I enjoy the most. And this has a similar thing going on. By far, the bidding over here is the most compelling or interesting part of the game. I really like resource generation's fine. Establishing and trying to position where people are and how you can kind of take hold of the citadels, that's fine. But the turn order...
If you remove bidding from this game, I have no interest.
Yeah.
The bidding drives this game.
This is so good. So let me explain why it's so good. You're always going to be pushing up various tracks, and you kind of have to start the negotiation with the idea that you're not going to get whatever you just indicated you wanted. And so everyone's trying to read the board. What do people actually need? What are they trying to accomplish? How close does it put them to a victory condition? Where can I let them spend more money? Where can I give it to them for free? Because in all reality, they're going to get extra coins, but I just screwed them because they don't need that white citadel.
Most of the bidding typically ends with somebody moving to Apollo. Apollo is going to result in you not bidding, so you save your money for next round. Plus you get a cornucopia on the board, which is permanent income.
And
Plus
there's
you
a
get
chance
a
the entire board goes...
So that's the point. If you read the board and you go on
Multiple
Apollo
times.
at a point where it's not the worst for you, and you think other players don't necessarily aren't where they want to be, and more importantly, the ones that are on the war gods, the Ares, Poseidon, the Kronos, if they are not currently a threat to you, you can read the board and you can mess with people so badly in this game. It is so rewarding.
So I liked that a lot.
Yes.
However, it's really hard to move in this game. It's really hard to do anything in this game. Like, I found elements of this, like, it's surprising to me that I enjoyed this game, because I moved a total of 3 spaces and engaged in 2 battles in a, 60, maybe 75-minute game?
Something like that. A little longer than that.
that.
Longer than that.
2 hours?
But that
I
goes to
didn't
the
do
point.
anything.
It didn't feel
I didn't
long.
do anything.
He didn't do anything, and he played a 2-hour-long game, and he thinks it was an hour.
I did nothing, though.
You facilitated the win.
Yes.
You helped King.
Well,
Yeah.
yes. So I was forced into it. I was forced into giving you the win as
I
well.
think it's important to note that we are actually playing with the Titans expansion. The Titans expansion is almost a standalone game. It's not standalone, but it's almost standalone in terms of how much it changes and shifts up the Cyclades mechanism. Because that idea, that construct of the idea that you don't get to do things was always a complaint in the original game. Now, I love the original. If you chose me to choose original versus Titans, I like them both. I think they do different things. I love them a lot.
Okay.
You can
But
only
it was-
keep one.
Original.
You pick me.
Original.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I could only play one ever, original or Titans, I would choose original.
I would not.
That's it, but and that's valid. I think most people prefer Titans, but I like them both. But one of the complaints in the original was that because you could only ever move when you got Ares, because you could only ever move your ships when you got Poseidon, you had to tactically plan around the occasional 2 or 3 times per
You're never
game
gonna move.
that you would have a combat. No,
Yeah.
you would, but it had to be perfectly timed.
Yeah.
It was all about that timing and
Which
the
is
bidding.
You also have to
interesting.
be more defensive because you have to plan for the other people moving against you and build up your forces,
And so-
even if you
Which
weren't
is
gonna move.
interesting.
Yeah, but what they did, and I love it, I loved
Yeah.
it a lot. What they did though is they added Titans, they added Kronos, this another god, and Titans and a more land-based map board to this game to address the people who felt that there wasn't enough going on. Because as long as you have a single Titan in this game, then you can choose every round, you can pay money to move your troops even without getting the bid of Ares.
Here's
Now,
the issue.
Did you have Titans?
I didn't get it. I bid. I went after bidding for Titans multiple times.
How'd it go?
Someone was making 13 coins a round, and the odds of competing against that?
That is false, sir. Not
11 coins a round?
No, I was making 13 coins a round. Do you know how many times I bid on Kronos?
I believe once, and it knocked me out of it.
That's fine. That might be true. I only got Kronos one time, the first round of the game.
And you purchased.
I might have gotten it 3 times. I definitely got 3 Titans on the board.
I wasn't going for bonus.
Can we really establish who the villain of my game was?
Oh, she absolutely attacked you left, right, and center.
Nope.
Absolutely, again and again, needlessly. Shira, who would you say was winning that game?
Who was winning?
Yeah. Most of the time. Who do you think was in the lead, arguably? Okay, and who did you mostly target with things?
You. My neighbor.
Is that a blatant lie?
That's a blatant lie.
That's a blatant
It's an
lie.
entire lie.
Maybe I mixed up the colors a little bit.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Fair.
They're so similar.
I like the idea of the Titans. It introduces another move mechanic. It introduces an off-turn move mechanic.
Yes.
However, it still is on a bidding track. It's still restricted in a way that
You have to get it at least
kept
once.
me from not ever getting access to it.
Yep.
And I did try. I genuinely knew I needed to get some Titans so I could function, and I still wasn't able to. And then by the time it was at a point where I might have been able to get them towards late game, I'd already been cut off from my island. I'd already been dismantled.
I think that was the one
enough.
time you were targeted by someone that wasn't Shira.
Yes, it was the one time, and it was devastating to everyone around the table.
Was it? Really, though?
I thought it was fine.
So the bidding's really cool. The board play and the movement on the board is slow and paced, and I actually do like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, it doesn't evoke it evokes a very slow progressive war, I suppose,
Yes.
but it doesn't evoke the idea of gods manipulating the acts of men and
Oh, are you kidding me? That's exactly what I
Maybe.
feel. The fact that you can only really get the freedom of movement you want when you own Ares or you own Poseidon, when you've made a sacrifice to them, and that's when your fleet suddenly shift across the board.
Okay.
Do you know how long it takes people to actually march across the
that's what
continent?
I talked myself into it as I was backing off of.
Cool.
Here's the other thing. You want straight money.
Yes.
Is
As he always
straight?
does.
Is
I
straight,
always do.
is
I
straight
don't
money,
always win.
Is straight money the realistic only beginning move?
No.
How many times have you won?
So I'd have to check win rates or something. I don't know the exact number. I definitely win this game a decent amount, but I don't win this game more than half the time. So I don't know. I think economy in this game is important. After all, as we've talked about, the main driving mechanic of the game is the
economy.
bidding.
The bidding and
So
you need money.
if
If you
don't
have the money to
economy,
outbid someone,
you can do
you're
it.
in a good position.
Now, so my problem, the reason I don't always win is even though I always go economy.
because you're
and
only okay at games.
There's multiple ways you can go economy. You can operate on these fleet tracks, you can take land battles, you can go Apollo. There's different ways you can manipulate and gain that economy in the game. But if you focus on economy to the sacrifice of other things, then what happens is other players are moving towards that victory while you're building up your engine.
Sure.
And if they get their victory before you can execute on your engine, well, that's why I don't win all the games, even though I always go economy. This game worked out very well in my favor, which actually I think made it a subpar first experience for you, in the sense that I was left off abandoned in my corner while everyone else
you
had
had
the little
so
pair
much
up.
money.
And I was just able to build up in the degree and the
The only
discrepancy
thing I
was
wanted to
larger
do
than
from the
usual.
start of the game was I went here. I said I'm going to make it to this island.
Which you
I
did.
made it to the island. It was the only move I ever made, and then my ship got destroyed. I got cut off, and that cost me everything.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Don't get stranded on islands. I
Don't
think
get
that's the
stranded on
lesson
islands,
to
yeah.
take.
The other-
You were being very greedy. This island has three
The
income.
other thing that I think is really interesting about the game is going to be over here.
The creatures.
The creatures, the abilities, the heroes that you can get that
love
can
them.
actually... I actually am way more compelled by that, and I didn't realize they existed because I believe you taught us a rule wrong. It was 2 or 3 rounds in when you realized that we could buy them off turn.
Oh no, I didn't teach you the rule wrong. You understood it incorrectly.
I believe 3 people around the table.
2 people. You and Shira understood it.
I
As you
believe-
can only buy them.
No.
I believe Ezzy as well.
Yeah.
No, as he's been playing this game for who knows how long.
I believe Ezzy
One other
as
person.
well.
One other person.
And so
'Cause I
if
confirmed
it's
with them while you were gone.
if it's 3 out of 5, you taught it wrong. It doesn't
I
matter what people interpret it. If it's
disagree.
3 out of 5, you taught it wrong. These became much more compelling once I realized what they could do. From manipulating your troops, from giving you extra bonus actions that you don't need this for, all the way to, like, if I have presence on 4 islands, I can immediately cycle one of my heroes and get one of these citadels.
Yes.
That end game push, that balance of I've now invested in a strategy no one else has access to, is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a secret one.
He had a secret
Oh,
one.
I had one that you could sacrifice a hero when you build one and immediately build it off
Yeah.
in a secret island, therefore no one can ever steal it from you, which is very cool.
I had the one about the islands, and I spent 3 turns trying to move.
That's very helpful. Very, very helpful. But no, I agree with you completely. These creatures, there's a giant stack of them, and there's even more. About the Cyclades, we have a lot of things. We have Hades, we have a bunch of promos, we have basically every degree of content you can have for this game. And that means there's a lot of ways to mix up the experience. But even without using all of them, there's entire stacks of cards that you will never see all of these in a single game. It will likely take you 4 or 5 games before you have a realistic assessment of seeing most of them. And that's going to mean different small nuances, ways to steal opponents' income, ways to ping a soldier across the map and then walk into the zone, using the Pegasus to fly across the board, which is even more impactful in the original, but even here it is meaningful. Ways to limit people's movement. You see your opponent building up a group of forces, drop Medusa into their zone, and they can't move until Medusa's gone, which means you've just delayed them on the turn they finally got Ares. There's so much strategy and tactics around this.
I remember one that stole resources from you.
Yes, you finally got that island that you love, that 3 income island, and then someone, definitely
you
not
looking
Shira.
at me?
Oh,
Why?
it was Shira? Oh, Shira definitely plunked down the Cerberus on the island, stealing the income from you. There's just ways of messing with people, even if they're not the person who's winning the game.
Yeah, it's totally fair. I mean, so here's before I get to like my final thoughts, final impressions type of thing. Anything we're overlooking that makes you enjoy this game, other than beating me up?
The large amount of blue.
The large amount of blue. Yes,
fair.
that is always true. Blue is my color. The different avenues towards going for a win. I'm still trying to figure out like how to like narrow down my focus and go towards one avenue, because you can go for Athena and get 4.
And people have won with Athena.
I know,
because people don't want to bid for Athena.
Right, right. You can go for straight Athena, but once you get 4 and people realize what you're doing, you can go for the monsters. You can go for heavy war, heavy sea, Kronos with the Titans. That was a new addition. It was, and then you can try and just prepare for other people to get the
Just
win
take
conditions
them.
and then just take over them,
Which is fun
that's
too.
Actually,
it's a realistic
tactic.
part of the game.
There's just so many different avenues, and it's so much fun. Sequencing. I don't like sequencing as much as other people in our game group, so that's the hardest part of this game for me, and I still love this game.
Yeah. It's a solid game. I've always said Cyclades is about bidding and timing. Those are the two things. The bidding track and then the timing of getting the right god at the right time, in the right turn order, with the right board state. That is what you have to do in this game. Which brings us to, Jesse, did you like it?
Yeah. Well, and would you play it again?
Yes.
And how do you rate it on your
I haven't
bourbon
been
scale?
doing that as much.
I always like that final question. It's a great set.
It's a good series of questions.
You have
Yeah.
to add, how do you rate it on your bourbon scale?
This is played it once. You rate games and played it once?
I have no idea. At this point, I don't know what
You're just
we do.
making it up.
I just talk confidently
I
towards
like
the camera.
readings.
And so I absolutely enjoyed it. Ish. I would play it again without Shira.
That's offensive.
Reasonable.
Here's where I'm thinking. So again, area control is not my genre. I'm interested enough in it to like play games with it, but it has to have another mechanic that is interesting
100%.
enough to compel me. The drafting in Blood Rage. If people like bidding games, this is a no-brainer for them to add to their collection. It is unique.
Yes.
It is unique in the way that it applies a interesting bidding system into this area control mechanic, and this is the secondary part of the game for me.
I recently just got rid of Raw, which I apologize for, and I said the reason I got rid of Raw, it's an iconic game, it's an amazing experience, but I got rid of Raw because Raw is pure bidding, and I said that if I want bidding, I play Cyclades.
Sure.
Not if I want area control. If I want bidding, I play Cyclades.
Yeah. So this, I think, is going to be right behind Blood Rage for me when it comes to the area control style games that we've played. Inish is going to be pushed back from this.
So
I didn't love it. Same drafting with a little bit a different type
really
of strategy.
Bad first plays with our area control games. You had a bad first play of Inish. You had a bad first play of this. You just
Maybe
it's you.
Without Shira.
Maybe
Next game without Shira.
Maybe it is me. Next game without her. Yeah, certainly. We'll see if it's just me. How about that?
Yes.
I didn't really like Rising Sun. Inish is pushed back a little bit. I probably wouldn't play Rising Sun again. I'd be fine playing Inish again to see if it was Shira's fault.
I think you would love Kemet.
Okay.
When I have the new version of Kemet coming. With this, Kemet, Inish, and Cyclades are going to be part of a trilogy. By those two, correct me in the comments. I know many people say Cyclades, so Cyclades, Cyclades, either way.
Cyclades?
Cyclades, whatever you want to call it. Cyclops, all that stuff. But Kemet is going to be one of the other games in the trilogy that is incredible.
Okay.
I have the new copy coming shortly, and when it does, we can give that to the table, because I think you'll love that one. The powers, the chaos, the madness, I think is right up your alley.
I'd be invited to that one.
No.
Ask this guy.
This is one that I would add to my collection.
I think it's a worthwhile addition. Yeah.
You have to get all the
And for those who don't know, by the way, they are coming out with a second edition of Cyclades. I do not know what they're including. So, for instance,
is it a different publisher?
A different publisher.
Yeah.
Matago no longer is publishing the new one. Unfortunately, I love Matago, but I think Bruno Cathala is still involved. They're taking it to a new publisher, and they're coming out with a new version. I do not know what's included. I do not know if they're going to have Titans, Hades. I don't know what they're going to have.
They're going to have more miniatures, I assume.
They probably will have miniatures. They are a selling point these days.
Yeah.
Yes.
It seems to be. Either way. Whatever the case, it sounds like soon this version of this game will be a lot cheaper for you to get your hands on. And so by that point, either now or then, if you like bidding, if you like a bit of area control, if you like any of the other games we've listed in this category, worth trying, and I would argue worth buying.
Yeah.
Rating?
Oh, I mean, this to me is a 5 out of 5. I love this game.
5 out of 5.
You do a 3 to 7.
7 out of 3.
7 out of 3. Yep. Good. I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5.
Okay.
On the bourbon scale.
Bourbons.
No, listen.
Honestly, it's a slow game.
On the bourbon scale, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5, which is close to the highest. A 1 out of 5 is the highest you can do. That's a perfect score. And so a 1 means that this is going to be heavy and thinky, and I won't have, I can't drink so much because I want to engage with the game. The game's that good.
You're getting to the point with your rating scale where any publisher can just take whatever rating you're giving and just say, Quackalope gave it a 3 out of 5, their highest rating, whatever it is.
So a 2 is going to be right next to that highest possible rating, which is a 1 out of 5. A 2 out of 5 for me, when it comes to the bourbon scale, is going to be, this game isn't so complex that I won't drink any bourbon. I will have 2 bourbons, but I'll have 2 bourbons over the course of a 2-hour game. It'll keep me engaged. I'll enjoy the process. I'll enjoy the drink. Both are at equal measure. I don't need the bourbon to supplement my experience. I also want to avoid the bourbon because it's too much.
Sure.
Nearly a perfect score.
Very reasonable.
Yeah. And with that,
I was waiting to see who broke first.
See you next time. That was so funny.
I wasn't gonna pick. It's your video.
I know. I just love that you both reacted. I went, and you both went.
I'm just gonna let you go.
And I was just content to stare.
Oh, that was funny.